Okay, thank you very much, Professor Selvanayagam.
Good afternoon. The previous two speakers have spoken about the very important issues related to youth and youth problems. But my topic today for presentation is food security. Government of India 2 years back passed a resolution in their parliament and introduced what we call the food security bill. Food for everybody. The question is, after 60s and 70s, in Indian scenario, they introduced into Green Revolution. Before 1960, we were begging food from other countries under PL 480, wheat, bulgur, whatnot, everything. After 1960, there is a complete change in the policy of agriculture and financing, and they venture into a green revolution. Through green revolution, you are able to produce enough food material, but still we had hunger, malnutrition, death, so on and so forth. In the name of food security, using biotechnology, manipulation, all related to agriculture, we also had a concern, the impact of green revolution, where we were using lot of pesticides, lot of chemical fertilizers, even not only agriculture like DDT, even public health department. As a result, we realized the impact of pesticide as well as the other chemical fertilizer impact. So with this background, I would like to go into the few aspects of food security, biotechnology and ethics. So biotechnology is a scientific innovation where we are able to use scientific skill in different forms, and it has given us a rapid development towards the welfare of human being, human health, animal health, food, agriculture and industrial activities. The biotechnology applications such as tissue culture and micropropagation are being used for the rapid multiplication of disease-free planting materials. New diagnostic and vaccines are also being widely adapted for the welfare of human being, prevention of disease, control animal, fish and everything. This slide will give an idea what is food insecurity, because we are going for food security, therefore we have to understand why there is insecurity. There are different issues, causes, globalization, conflict, poverty, climate change, and now we are talking more about climate change, global warming, and you know what happened recent Paris Convention. There is a UN cry about the climate change and its impact on the environment and also food security. Then coming to the various drivers, food shortages. When we talk about food shortages, is it because of non-production or improper distribution? In Indian scenario, just last year, the Supreme Court has come down heavily on the government of India, asking the government to supply the food materials which are stored in the storehouse, so-called loads. Why? Because in most of the cases, food storage is not done properly. It has been stored in the open ground, covered with a polythene cover. Because of that, the amount of food material wasted is enormous. Contamination, pest insurgents, rodents, and therefore therefore government felt they cannot do anything more because there is no proper storage facility. At the same time, food is there on one side, on the other side there is a malnutrition and non-availability of food material, there is a hunger, death. Therefore the Supreme Court forced the government to distribute the materials which are wasted in godowns free of cost to the needy people. So therefore, we have food material, but there is a lack of proper distribution system. Then food price increases. Food production is directly related to seasonal changes. There are seasons where we produce more vegetables, other materials, and there are lean season. So what we do normally when we have more harvest, seasonal growth, we harvest it and store it for future, so that it will be available during the lean season. This is the general methodology what we adapt. But what has been done by the business community, they create an artificial scarcity. We have cases like onions, tomatoes, potatoes. Potatoes sold per kg 5 rupees, even sometimes 2 rupees. Yesterday it was 85 rupees. Why I am telling? Because we have production, but there is no proper storage mechanism and distribution mechanism. So therefore there is a food price increases, then food hoarding and food contamination, and these are the issues or drivers. So these are reflected on the symptoms: deterioration of health, deterioration of nutrition because it loses its nutritive capacity, then hunger, loss of life, civil unrest, conflicts, economic instability, political instability, and social instability. In Indian scenario, I can talk about Indian scenario, we call it freebies. Every government, all the political parties, before they go for election, they promises so many things free. 20 kg of rice is free for all the family card holders. Mixie is free. Grinder is free. School children are given bicycle, laptop.
Nice politicians.
So where do they get this money? So for their own survival, political survival, to get ruling, they misuse their power, give few freebies to the poor people, silencing them, never interested in their development. So as an average poor people, what they do, if they get 20 kg of rice free of cost, well and good. I am happy, I can sit and eat. If I get a grinder, very good. TV is given free, but dish antenna you have to pay. Because dish is managed by the politicians. So they make the people lazy, they never allow them to think so that they can get benefit, so they give freebies. Instead of giving these freebies, spending so much money, if they invest in people development, employment, things would have been changed, and that will make them to think. Probably they may not vote such practicing people who are giving frees and cheating the people. So therefore these are the various issues related to. So biotechnology has given us a new tool to improve food security and reduce the poverty. The green revolution, which has doubled the food production, has reduced the poverty during the past 3 decades. Today, the challenge is how to use the new development in biotechnology together with information technology and new ways of managing knowledge to make the complex agricultural system more productive, sustainable to achieve the goal of food security. So, they exist when all people, that is the definition, at all times have physical, social and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. So, the security for who? Individuals, family unit, households, community, country and region. So these are the stakeholders to whom we have to give security by providing enough, sufficient, nutritious food material. On the other hand, it should fulfill sufficiency, safety, economic access, that is purchase power, and physical access and nutrition. Economic access, physical access should be available. We have food material. The question is it available in the market for common man? So these are some of the area where the government has to take a policy decision. So the development of agricultural biotechnology is perceived by some as posing considerable risk to human health. The public debate surrounding GMOs is one of the widely discussed issue, GMOs, and you can see the newspaper articles in the Indian scenario, lot of suicide on one side, BT cotton, brinjal, so many things. So harmful to human health and the environment unless effective regulatory frameworks are implemented. Indeed, the public and private sector must manage the introduction and useful biotechnology to maximize benefits and minimize the risk. So biotechnology is a boon today for the welfare of human being as long as it fulfills the aspiration of our people in terms of development. So the intensification of agriculture with much chemical inputs and pesticides lead to environmental degradation. The main problem are salinity, overuse of pesticide and degradation of natural resources. The green revolution technology were useful, the favorable and irrigated environment. See, in this regard, regarding the pesticide, DDT was dumped in India in order to tide over malaria. Tons and tons of DDT was used, still I remember, in 1960s. But what happened after DDT usage? On one side we are very happy that malaria was controlled. But on the other side, mosquitoes have become more prominent with They are normally used to feed night time, but they are also feeding daytime. So they also changed. But as a result of DDT, what happened? DDT is a non-biodegradable pesticide. Bioaccumulation, if it affected number of bird species because of pesticide present in the paddy. And it also estimated the presence of DDT in breast milk, cow's milk. Just imagine, one of the cheapest food material what we provide for our children, babies, is cow milk. If the cow milk contains DDT, what sort of healthy food material we are providing for our young children? So therefore, we need development, we need to use pesticide, but what level? So these are the questions we have to see. In addition, there have been declining public investment in agriculture sector across most of the region. Need not be some, because today agriculture is non-viable developmental activity. Most of the people sold their agriculture land trying to migrate to the city for a better job. Why? Because monsoon failure, you don't get proper seeds, fertilizer, pesticide price has gone up, and labor is very, very costly. You know, agriculture is labor intensive. And therefore, most of the villages selling their land to the urban development people, mostly for developmental activity, industrial activity or housing. So they sell their land and go into the urban area for opportunity, mainly because non-availability of laborers and agriculture is no more good profession or good farming. So therefore there is a lot of problem related to agriculture. But we have completely forgotten, if there is no agriculture, we cannot eat. In the recent flood in Chennai, just in the month of December, there was a flood. Chennai was floating. Everybody had money in the bank account, ATM card, but no food material. They realized that importance of food material at that time. They have money, but there is no food. So therefore, if agriculture is not promoted, it is not supported by the government, we have to undergo starvation. We cannot eat money. So this is the condition now we are facing. So these factors have been responsible for the decline in annual agricultural growth rate in the past few years, because the recent past, about nearly 10 years, this is the trend. Most of the agricultural land was sold to the construction activity. So future challenges, strategies to meet the required increase in food supply include sustainable productivity, increase in food, feed and fiber crops. So don't think about only one particular crop, rice or wheat. Why don't you go for multi cultivation? Alternatives. Reducing chemical inputs of fertilizer and pesticide and replacing them with biologically based products. Today there is a realization. People are switching over the traditional agriculture, organic farming. And you can see the produced by organic farming labeled now in the market. That fetches higher amount. So we were using it, pesticide, chemical fertilizers. after the Green Revolution. And we also realized the impact of heavy dose of pesticide and fertilizer, how it has damaged our environment. Integrating soil, water, nutrient management. Agronomy. Have you given enough input to know about the soil quality? Depending upon the soil quality, have you made any arrangement for cultivation of a particular crop? So just because you know rice cultivation, you go on doing cultivation of rice. You never worried about water scarcity. So can we switch over to a crop which can withstand water scarcity? So now we have developed salinity resistant variety of rice. Saline water, which can grow in saline water, especially in the coastal water. You know, after tsunami 2004, most of the coastal zone were affected, and there is a need for us to develop. So now we have developed a gene taken from the mangrove that has been incorporated in the paddy, and now this paddy variety can withstand and grow in saline water. So therefore, biotechnology one side is useful, no doubt about it. At the same time, at what level we can make use of it. Improving the nutrition productivity of livestock and controlling livestock diseases. The beta carotene, an example. Golden rice. How golden rice plays a major role to avoid vitamin A deficiency. So therefore, these are the advantages. Achieving sustainable increase in fisheries and aquaculture production. Fish protein is one of the cheapest protein available today, and we have to supplement instead of going for poultry or dairy and other things. And once again, global warming, climate change, once again methane gas. So therefore we have to see wherever it is possible what are the things which can reduce the environmental impact. At the same time, the productivity has to be taken care of and should be encouraged. Increasing trade and competitiveness in global market, fixing of the price in the open market, that's also one of the important thing for food supply. The challenge is how to use new developments in modern science, including biotechnology, in correct with the information and communication technology, a new way of managing knowledge to make the complex agricultural system in more productive and sustainable ways. So as I said earlier, food is available, we have good productivity, production, but loss is there, and we attribute various reasons including climate change. And there's one reason is food distribution. That is one of the reasons for food insecurity. You make it security through proper distribution of food materials. Fixing the price proper. Because why agriculturists are not able to do agriculture? Because of pricing. So give them incentive. Encourage them so that they will be able to stick on to agriculture, produce food material, what we eat. What happened to the urban population? They are not dependent upon the rural population for food. If everybody moved to the city, what will happen to the agriculture? At the same time, without compromising the nutrition values. Therefore, the modern scientific developments, speed of the plant and animal breeding, we have developed through biotechnology, cloning, breeding various different varieties of plants, hybrid varieties. All these things should enhance the quality of human being, quality of life. Therefore, the scientific knowledge, the scientific development should have the main theme for the welfare of humanity. At the same time, your biotechnology or whatever technique we use should also have the ethical values. So, possible solution to previously intractable problems such as drought tolerance, varieties, new varieties, drought prone, drought resistant varieties. Enable the development of new products such as more nutritious food. Therefore, try to produce enough food material, materials contain enough nutrient value, sufficient for all people. So the race to feed the world, so the desire for greater quantity or quality of food lead to the mid-late 20th century. Norman Borlaug is the one who started the Green Revolution. Even the prize was awarded in his name. And this is the Green Revolution fathers. So Green Revolution leads to greatly increased crop yield based on the incorporation of dwarfing genes discovered by Norman Borlaug and widespread use of agrochemicals. So therefore, the hybridization, cross-pollination, all the varieties which are developed, dwarf variety with agrochemical. Now here, there are three things very important. One is policy, priority setting, and also the private partnership. The research related to biotechnology not only restricted or should be the target of government, but should also be the private ventures, private partnership. So therefore, only then there may be or there will be a cohesive impact towards developing food security, food for all. Here the food safety also is one of the main considerations. Quality of food what we provide. Is it contaminated? Whether it good to eat, because the storage facility what we have today is not sufficient or inadequate. Therefore, we have to maximize, make full proof of food safety so that the security of food also will be fulfilled by that. So, when we are interested in food productivity, food security, certain activities what we initiate also will have direct impact on the environment. And therefore, we also take into consideration the deleterious impact which will cause by over usage of pesticides and fertilizers. And therefore, we have taken into consideration an impact of the environment. We have issues related to socio-economic concern, disparity, have and have-nots. The public distribution system is one of the best systems today what is available, so that everybody is able to get food material. In the Indian scenario, what we call the ration card. Each family has given a ration card. Through that card, they can get food material from the public distribution system. So that makes guaranteed food security to all people who are living both in urban as well as rural areas. So here only comes the government policy. So therefore, we need participation by the private sector, government, and the major role to be played by the scientists, agricultural scientists. So therefore, the agricultural scientists, their main motto or purpose should be to enhance the quality of life of people. We have to enhance the productivity. Now there are certain ethical issues. The basic question is, by scientific development, biotechnology, do we go against the basic nature by our manipulation, our technology? So these are certain questions we have to raise. We have to use sometimes the precautionary principles. We have to use how far or how long this can be allowed. So when when it was cloned, what's the name of the cloned sheep? Dolly. Of course, no more now. So there was a hue and cry. People have said, oh, it's against the nature, all these things. But we do have animals breeding, where we are breeding for meat, milk, poultry also we have for egg laying. So therefore, there are things which needed for our welfare. At the same time, it should not demoralize. And therefore, there is a balance needed regarding the ethical issues when we use our biotechnology or development. So therefore, the general welfare makes citizens healthy and happy, because the basic purpose is to fulfill the aspiration, the need of our fellow citizens. So we have to see whether there is any conflict, and we have to see how far we can reduce the conflict, because they are all influenced by religion. So therefore, religion should not come into way here and obstruct the development of human developmental activities. So therefore, we have to be very cautious here. What is good, we have to take for our development. So despite the diversity of ethical issues in biotechnology, there is a need to understand the beliefs and doctrines, as these allow coexistence within and across societies and prevent social conflict. A technology's acceptance is based not only on technological soundness, but on how it is perceived to be socially, politically, and economically feasible from the viewpoint of disparate groups. An understanding of ethics helps to determine what information is needed by society and how to deal with different opinions. So a process of negotiation based on trust is essential to enable stakeholders to participate in debates and decision making. Thus, biotechnology should be at the service of the fullness of life of humankind, while ensuring food security. The biotechnological advancement should not conflict with bioethical boundaries. It is up to the scientists and agriculturists to ensure the abundance of food and the practice of bioethics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's time for questions. John, please, with the microphone.
Good, thank you for that. Just a couple of questions. You talked quite a lot, obviously, about chemicals and their role in food production. One of the big things that's been in the news lately is antibiotics, and it's becoming a big problem with humans. A lot of antibiotics have been used in particularly chicken raising and other livestock so that presumably they can get bigger and fatter and selling more quickly, and there's more food, but there's probably more profit in it as well. And I was just wanting to get your opinion on that and whether they can be cut out without too much trouble. And the other thing is organic farming. We have a lot of that at home as well. Certainly at this stage, though, organically produced food tends to be more expensive than non-organically produced. That's particularly true, say, in the case of eggs, where you have free-range eggs, quite expensive, caged eggs, moderately cheap. Can you see that changing, and is that the case in your experience as well? Thanks.
Now, definitely, the organic products has given a new image today, because after seeing the impact of pesticides, more of chemical fertilizers, the after effect seems to be not in favor of consumer. And therefore there is a realization, we call it traditional agriculture, traditional way of doing agriculture. In those days, in the rural area, every house will have a garden and there will be a manure pit. And each house will have cows, poultry, piggery, sheep, everything. All the waste, what they collect, they put it in the pit, will become manure. And they used to have only this, because they don't know the chemical factors in those days. So that was the traditional organic way they were doing it. What happened after 60s, 70s? Because of need and other time, we started using a lot of the pesticides and chemical fertilizers. And the basic nature of agriculture is, in order to prevent the pest, they use a lot of pesticide, more than what is desirable, what is fixed. And therefore there is a lot of excessive pesticide, excessive fertilizer. All this enter into the soil, it affects the soil flora, microorganism, earthworm, no more earthworm, no more aeration in the soil, no more formation of the organic material, and therefore it affects the soil, therefore productivity reduced. So therefore now there is a realization that we have to go back to the original way of cultivation, and therefore when they use this technique, their production is very intensive and limited, and therefore they have to fix higher rate, no doubt about it. Because when they use a chemical fertilizer, they are able to produce more, but at the same time, quality wise not that much. And now we have seen the delaying, even fruits. We put it when it's available, when you want it, remove it. Then you will ripen it. So delaying ripening. So these are some of the development advantage. But what is the impact of all this? Probably we may not know immediately. It needs long process. We have to wait and do the work for longer duration, exposure duration, and then find out its impact. Therefore, it's a mandate actually. We have to analyze the immediate short term as well as long term impact of all these pesticide and the fertilizer usage.
So you touched on the issue of price quite a bit.
Sir?
You touched on the issue of price.
Yeah.
And I agree totally, that's a very important incentivizing factor. I know in Thailand here, like I deal with the sugar mills a lot and the sugarcane farmers, and what we see is that the mills take an enormous amount of the profit away from the farmer. The farmers are basically being held to the mills and everybody above them. So it exacerbates the problem at every step of the way. And so you also said that artificial scarcity is a problem. That's one thing amongst the entire system, which is designed to make it harder to find the true value and get the farmer the value at the very basic level. So there's a lot of room, I think, to change the system without setting a price, though, because setting the price is what, again, we ran into problems with here in Thailand, because that immediately comes out of the government's coffers, and as soon as the international market price changes, then the policy looks terrible, and the government's unaccountable to the people, and it's easy to get kicked out. So there has to be a ground-up way. So basically, what I wanted to recommend, and I'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, is ways for the farmers to organize and set prices amongst themselves and become more responsive and responsible. So, your thoughts?
In the Indian scenario, the sugarcane price is fixed by the government. So, depending upon the harvest, they fix the price. But the middlemen, they are the people who are making a lot of profit. So therefore, there should be a system where we directly market it. For that only we are recommending the cooperative society and so on and so forth. But still it's not very successful. Procurement, we call it procurement, central procurement of even paddy procurement. And this is the paddy what is procured by centrally, used by the government for free distribution. The rice, we call it central procurement.
Okay, nice name. You have a question?
Thank you very much. Thank you. It is a very, very experience-based and thoughtful presentation. Since I am a medical doctor by background, public health physician, but not much well conversant with the environmental issue, but in public health, environment is one of the areas, so I have a shallow knowledge around this. But coming to this course for last couple of months, my whole mind is just shifted to the environmental issue. So reading so much of document with Jared, particularly. So coming to that point of view, like when you mentioned about, I have two specific things. One is biotechnology has a lot more advantage like nanotechnology. So it's coming up, growing up in the market, and people are getting a lot of benefits, of course. There's a lot of disadvantage, but benefit is just there. But coming to a very practical sense of this, that where in biotechnology, is there any kind of work they thought about to make a kind of a vicious cycle management of the waste, like the waste product, to make it more kind of safer, and then making it to the fertilizer, and then make it a human-friendly environment. So it's a vicious cycle, like making round like this. Is there a kind of science thinking around this? Is one thing. And another is, you mentioned about the food security issue. But my concern is like, when you mentioned about the food security issue, you just thought about particularly the mention about one example, that when there was a flood in your part of India, and then there was money with the people, like Amartya Sen said, the availability is an important issue. You can have affordability, but the availability is sometimes a matter in accessing things. So coming to that kind of economic understanding, when food security is not an issue, that availability and accessibility, there's so much of the comprehensiveness in this food security. As we think about the very ready example of, like my mind, if I give an example, the market regulation is so important. And as you mentioned lastly that, if the government procure the whole thing and government is in control of the market and government make it accessible, then the farmer just need to grow. They do not know to think about how to access to the market. And the people, the middlemen cannot exploit the market. So this is very important for security issue. So regulation is important to me, and also particularly the market control, who control the market. Is majority time, few of the business people have a kind of a association or something, so they regulate the whole market, particularly with the agricultural production. So security issues is a lot comprehensive to me, my understanding. So I don't know, when this kind of thinking is there around the biotechnology, sometimes we just think more on the science, but it should be a comprehensive platform where the science, the environmental people, the regulation people, the corporate people should sit somewhere, some platform all together to think about and to serve properly the humanity. Because we should advance the science, fine. But there's a lot of disadvantage. But we can minimize those. How we can best minimize, that is the question. So there should be a platform actually, platform of thinking, platform of communication, where all these people from multi-angle should sit together, think together and act together.
Yeah, that's true, but see, when you say this agricultural product pricing, we have cooperative societies and they are the leaders and all, but they are internal politicians. That's the main problem. So in India, we have different problem. We have dal, onion, even the other type of things, no? So even we procure from Pakistan onions.
And that's what is happening in Bangladesh. We buy.
So we have productivity, we have production, but the middle people are blocking, hiding.
And they are making for.
They are not bringing to the open market. So government has to come forward and to bring from outside so that the price will go down. So therefore there is a lot of players involved. Therefore it needs a multifaceted, multi-pronged approach involving all the stakeholders.
That's what I am trying to say.
So that is the only solution. But in democracy is very difficult. Probably in dictatorship you can do that. But democracy is very difficult. Everybody talks about it, but never materializes. That is our experience.
I'm presenting a technological solution to that tomorrow. Just all those issues.
Any other comments or questions?